What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Ty from Ty Drives with the GoPro strapped to my head. We are going to be driving the 2024 Nissan Versa SR today. So this is one of the cheapest vehicles, monetary-wise, on sale in the United States. Now, this is the SR trim, so it's the most expensive trim. And let's take a look at the window sticker. $22,280 including destination. That is just downright impressive. Now let's take a quick look at the exterior, kind of pop all the doors open before we go for a test drive. First, let's take a look at the trunk, where it's actually pretty roomy. The seats fold down 60-40 split, and there's also a spare tire underneath and some grocery bag hangers too to either side, so that's pretty neat. So pretty roomy trunk. Equally impressive is the rear seat room, so quite a bit of room in there. Now definitely check my channel Ty Drives, or just wait for the video to be done, as I will have a link for our full features review video on this particular vehicle. So that would definitely help you out if you're in the market for a Versa, or you're just curious to see what kind of features this car has. We will talk about everything in that video, every single feature on the outside, under the hood, under the trunk, in the rear seats, and in the front seats. But for this video, we're going to take the Versa for a test drive. So, little overview of the test drive. We are going to quickly get it out on a more of a main road, so we'll see what it's like at some higher speeds, you know, hopefully 40 to 50 miles an hour or something like that. We'll kind of see what the noise insulation and ride quality is at that speed, and then we'll take it onto a back road where we'll get an acceleration test, and we'll also kind of get a feel for it on a bumpy road, get a real good feel for the suspension, and kind of see how it handles. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how it drives, and by the end of the other video and the features review, you'll know all the features it has. So the total package here on Ty Drives. Make sure you buckle up, safety first, and let's get this thing out on the road. So initial thoughts, the CVT does a really nice job in at least normal acceleration of kind of mimicking a gear change, so it just definitely sounds more natural than just, you know, like a normal CVT. So I like that part. It really does sound like it's a traditional transmission, so that's pretty cool. Now that we're up at 45 miles an hour, close to 50, there is a little bit of road noise, obviously, a little bit of tire noise, but, you know, on our normal acceleration, the engine noise is kept down pretty well, and really no complaints. You can't really hear the oncoming traffic too well, which is good, and actually pretty comfortable up at 45, 50 miles an hour. Now on this road here, as long as traffic allows us, we will do an acceleration from 0 to 60. If not, we'll just do it from 25 to 60. So let's see if there's anybody going to be behind us here. It looks like we're clear, so let's see what it can do. Let's turn the AC off just so we have a little bit more power. Follow up with a brake test. Yeah, so it does have plenty of power. It's, you know, 1.6 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder under the hood, and it's got 122 horsepower, 114 pound-feet of torque. So those are small figures, but you have to keep in mind this is also a small car. So you know, around town, I think you won't have any issues. And again, the CVT transmission did a pretty nice job with doing those simulated gear changes, and you know, no issues with getting up to 60 there. It's definitely not the fastest vehicle in the world, but definitely not the slowest. Now, it is worth pointing out that you can still get a manual transmission in the Nissan Versa. So if you go for the most basic trim level, the Versa S, you can get it with a 5-speed manual, which is awesome to me. But as you climb up in the trim ladders, the manual transmission no longer becomes available. But it's pretty cool to see if they still offer it. Now this road here isn't the most forgiving. There's lots of bumps and imperfections in the road, but that's good for us. We kind of get a feeling of the suspension, and it's actually pretty comfortable suspension setup. It actually feels pretty comfortable. Now we do have 17-inch wheels on this particular car, which is the largest wheel setup you can get, but there really isn't any issues that I'm seeing with ride quality. It actually is very comfortable. We do have a couple of S-turns coming up here, so we'll kind of get a feel on how it handles. You know, nothing crazy. I don't want my camera equipment going flying, but at least get an idea. We have one more turn coming up here. It actually feels pretty good. You know, there's definitely a little bit of body roll. This in no way is set up for performance driving, but it does handle the corners pretty well. Now, just to touch a little bit on features, I really like this kind of half digital, half analog display up here. You know, the old soul in me likes analog gauges best, but this kind of gives you the best of both worlds, and it's pretty configurable too. You could have this side show a bunch of different things like audio and different settings and tire pressures and trip computers and all kinds of stuff. So at the price point, you know, it's a really, this vehicle as a whole at the price point is frankly a lot for your money. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the seats. Now, they are manually adjusting for the driver and the passenger, of course, but they are just extremely comfortable. There is really no adjustable lumbar, but the lumbar that's, you know, preset in the seat is great. It feels good. These Nissan seats are just really, really comfortable right out of the box. There's also a good, you know, a decent amount of technology in this car too. This has adaptive cruise control, which was something I wasn't really expecting, and it also has wireless charging for your phone, which is another thing I wasn't really expecting. So a couple of pretty cool things. Now, as far as the steering goes, it is obviously light, but it does have a little bit of weight to it once you get it turning. We have front disc brakes and rear drum brakes, but with our, you know, braking test right after the acceleration test, it does just fine. You have to keep in mind that this car is pretty small, so drum brakes are just fine for a vehicle this size. And I think at this point you guys get a pretty good idea on how the Versa drives. I know it's certainly a pretty compelling choice at this price range. So, to end this video, I hope you have enjoyed the Versa just as much as I have. And I also hope you stick with us here at Ty Drives for more features reviews and test drive videos.